Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, Goldberg is pissed off at WWE. I'm Andy Murray.
I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I've stolen it again. This is the news. We really need to figure that out.
It's like a special one just for these videos we do it for.
Yeah, we're just curveballing the people over here. But yeah, we're going to talk about Goldberg's interview with Ariel Helwani, which is really interesting. And specifically, we'll get to the stuff about him saying he is pissed off with how his retirement run in the company went. Of course, he had his last match against Gunther at Saturday night's main event this past week. Went about 15 minutes. He was doing a big farewell promo at the end. He got cut off very abruptly, but then they ended up uploading it to YouTube.
Yeah.
And one part of that was he was in Atlanta, his hometown. So at least he got that in front of the crowd. But there is a lot to unpack with this, and he had a lot to say. Apparently he's going to have even more to say in about 2 weeks when an NDA elapses. That's the NDA symbol.
That's indeed.
Tap your watch. Let's start with some positive things that Goldberg said, first of all, shall we?
Yeah.
Why not? Let's start off on a positive note. Goldberg talking about just the retirement match and all that stuff in general. Ultimately, to have a little bit more control... I know I'm starting it on the negative sentence. Ultimately, to have a little bit more control over the time and space would have been much more preferred, let's just put it that way. But to be given the opportunity on such a special show with the lineage of the show, to be able to go against the World Heavyweight Champion, to be able to go against Gunther, it was an honour and a privilege to be given that opportunity, and I had to make the most of it. He said that Gunther was unbelievable to work with. It was awesome. I had a good time, and I was laughing. I actually had fun. So... he had this bit as well where he was like, he apologized for laughing when Gunther chopped him.
I thought it looked cool.
I thought it looked cool as well, because like Goldberg, I know he's like 58, but like the image has always been the big tough football guy.
He sold eventually for it.
Yeah, exactly. He took his ass beating later on. But he did apologize for that. He was like, I didn't mean to like dismantle the character, I just thought it would hurt more. which is quite a badass quote, to be fair.
I bet he could have, if he'd heard that, he'd be like, okay.
Let's try harder next time.
Yeah.
Which actually speaks to how good a worker Gunther is, because if it looks and sounds like it hurts like hell and it doesn't hurt like hell, that's wrestling, baby. That's the art.
That's what Bret Hart wants to see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, perfect guy to bring up. So yeah, some positive stuff there. And what I think would actually be a positive move in your life is if you signed up for NordVPN, our partners, best in the business. We got a great deal till the end of the month. Sign up now, receive 76% off, up to 4 months for free, and up to a $50 Amazon gift card. Link in the description and the comments below. But first...
cyber attacks. You're next.
Yeah, you are next. I'm going to spear you out of the internet.
Well, you were saying just before we started this, Goldberg loves like 3 or 4 things. Spears, headbutting doors, jackhammers, and NordVPN. Yeah. So
Beers. But I can't remember the rest. Battlestar.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, beats love bears. Anyway, your thoughts on Goldberg's positive stuff before we dive in?
Yeah, I mean, I've got sort of mixed emotions on this whole thing, to be perfectly honest. I will say, and we've sort of mentioned this a little bit yesterday, I thought the match was a massive over-delivery.
It was really good.
I think we all went into it going, oh, what are we going to do here? Are they going to put the belt on Goldberg? Which I did think they were going to do for that split second when he hit the jackhammer.
Yeah.
Which was the right call not to do that, obviously. Yeah. But to hook us on that was very impressive. And I thought, it was the best version of a Gunther versus Goldberg match. I had no problems with the whole no selling of the chops early on. Because in the end, Gunther tortured his knee and beat him, choked him out.
Yeah.
Gunther's character's unaffected by all this, as we saw on Monday Night Raw, obviously. And I thought it was the best possible showing Goldberg could have had in his retirement match. I'll say that for now.
Yeah, for sure. I think the only way the actual match could have gone a little bit better, and look, it was a good 15-minute match. Goldberg doesn't have many of those in his career. But maybe a 5-minute sprint would have been a bit more appropriate. But look, I'm not complaining about what we got. I thought it was really good, really well done. The only regret, of course, is the speech being cut off in the end.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Timing issue. It's a TV show, so they're beholden to that. Whereas if it was a PLE, they would have had they could just spin as long as they want, really.
Yeah, and he wasn't cut off mid-speech in terms of they went, shut up! He just wasn't on telly, but like you say, he was subsequently uploaded online, and he got to do it in his hometown and speak to his fans and in front of his family and what have you.
Yeah, and he mentioned the difference between the TV and the PLE. Ariel actually asked him, would you have preferred it to be on a PLE? And Goldberg said, yeah, absolutely. They cut me off after freaking 20 seconds with a microphone in my hand, for God's sake. And he spoke about the NDA thing a little bit. He said, I have 2 weeks before I can really spill the beans and make my feelings known about the entire rundown. From the inception of the idea to its delivery, it was a little less than to be desired. But again, I'm not going to complain because the opportunity, it's not many people get that opportunity. He did speak about how the retirement was announced like 7 months ago and they only spent really 3 weeks of building it, which I think is a fair point. He said, I would have loved for them to have announced it in January and build up to it and do something I thought was maybe worthy of my career. But let's just say that they chose to do it with 3 weeks' notice. It is what it is. It's a part of the package. Then this is the line that's gotten everyone fired up, or just talking. Goldberg said, "Let's just say I'm pissed off at the way I went out because I put so much effort into it, and I don't feel as though the effort was reciprocated to put a stance on what I've accomplished. Again, I'm not going to say that I'm not ecstatic with the opportunity that I got. I think it could have been done a little bit differently. That's all. I'm happy with my performance. He should be. He did a good job.
Yeah.
Considering some of the other matches that in his comeback, he did a pro job.
Yeah.
I'm happy with the setting, but could it have been better? Absolutely. It can always be better. What do you think? Were you hankering for a longer Goldberg retirement tour?
I mean, not really, to be perfectly honest. I think we got the greatest hits. You got, a spear. You got a jackhammer. You got him running down and terrifying his opponents and walking through the fireworks and what have you, and the infamous walk. And on the night, we got like a sort of retrospective on his career with some of the highlights being shown in video packages, hyping up the main event. The PLE line's interesting because, they're not going to be like, well, main event of Evolution is Goldberg's retirement match in terms of the weekend that we just had.
Goldberg versus... Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't... That match can't main event a PLE right now. I think they've got so much going on, so much important stuff with John Cena and Seth Rollins and Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Tiffany Stratton, etc., Jade Cargill, Naomi, obviously. I think this was the best possible version of events for him. I think they can be like, well, it's a Saturday night's main event. I think it's fair to say now we've established Saturday night's main event as kind of something and nothing. Sure. Big stuff does happen on it, but it's not to the level of a PLE in terms of seismic things that you have to tune in for. They treat it as a big deal as a television special, which it is. But I don't know in terms of what else. He's never been a great promo. Let's be perfectly honest. He comes down and says, "You're next," and he did that.
Yeah. So it's a great. It's like,
and he's had quite a few sort of. Not send-offs. It was never you thought, oh, well, his match against Dolph Ziggler at SummerSlam is his last ever match. But he had lots of, final hurrahs, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He's had a lot of those over the years where we thought, that's the last one. That's the last one.
Or that should be the last one, considering the stuff that went happened.
The Undertaker match and, I fully understand the reasons people don't enjoy this version of Goldberg because a lot of younger fans will only know Goldberg as the guy who had that sloppy match with the Undertaker or beat the Fiend or beat Kevin Owens or whatever. Yeah. A lot of people will only know him for that and won't know the streak in WCW and actually how awesome he was and how unbelievable his world title win against Hulk Hogan was and how incredible some of those squashes were and the energy and how big a draw he was, how over he was, how energetic he was when he walked down to an aisle. Traditionally not a great promo, but it didn't matter because he said "you're next" and 40,000 people went mental.
Yeah,
that is a power that very few people have. Unfortunately, I think a lot of younger fans only really know him as the old guy. Oldberg, am I right? Which is a bit of a shame. And I cannot begrudge anyone who would look at this these words and go, I had enough. I'm fine with that. If you were to tweak it somewhat, right?
He is a legend.
Yeah, he's one of the most transformative forces in 90s and 2000s American wrestling. Changed the game. Huge boon for WCW. And actually, the way they kind of misbooked him after his rise and everything else is one of the big reasons why that company started falling apart, aside from crazy contracts and all of that stuff. And look, WWE never got him correctly in his initial run. They never understood what made Goldberg special.
Or the people he faced knew what made him special and decided to minimise it.
Yes. Let's be honest. The guy with the pencil was was never high on presenting WCW talents on an equal footing.
The Rock made him look good. That first spear he got here with, he sold like he'd been destroyed.
Great debut as well. Just, there were moments for sure.
Yeah.
If I was to redo this retirement run, devil's advocate.
Yeah, go on.
Right, we got 3 weeks. The angles were a bit wonky. The match was really good. I would have brought him in for like 2 or 3 weeks before.
Yes, yeah, a longer build.
I would have done one final squash match. I would have had him run, just destroy someone.
We've said before, Grayson Waller
or Austin Theory.
Austin Theory sells. However you feel about Austin Theory, he's a brilliant seller.
Good bumper as well.
Yeah.
He would have taken the spear like a champ. It would have been good. Look, having watched the match, I'm sure Goldberg could have done a really good squash. His squashes were always rocking.
Yeah.
I would have done one more of those. I would have then had him confront Gunther and all of this stuff. Because, like, if you think about it logically, the idea that this 58-year-old bloke can just walk out and go out on a title shot is nonsense. So you find a different way to engineer that match.
Have Gunther beat up his son.
There
I said it all along.
Yeah, there you are. Like, have them bump into each other backstage or something, and Gunther slaps Gage, kicks his ass, something like that. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect way to get to that match. And then do the build to this match. I would remove one match from Saturday night's main event. Any of them, take your pick, put it on Raw or SmackDown. That'll make a huge difference. No. So then you have a full half hour, 40 minutes to do the full Goldberg package. You do the video package, you do the 15-minute match, and then you do the full speech on TV. Yeah. I think that would have been a lot smoother without taking up like 6 months or main eventing a PLE.
Yeah,
they
just wouldn't have worked as a main event of a PLE.
Yeah. So I think there's a compromise there. I don't think anyone realistically, even major Goldberg fans like me and Simon Miller, would sit here and go, I wanted an hour of Goldberg every week.
Yeah.
You know?
Should have main evented one of the nights at SummerSlam. No.
But I think there was a compromise there.
Yeah, I agree. But I can understand his frustration. I am excited for what happens in 2 weeks' time. I cannot deny. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I think, like you say, there's going to be a real divide of people who remember him from back in the day, or were even there when they were like, who's this guy? Oh, he's like big in the 90s. Right, but he's facing Brock Lesnar. That's going to be just like, well, it's nice to see you again. He's beating him in like a minute and a half. What the hell's happening?
Yeah.
Like that run and then subsequently to Mania, like I never thought you needed the title in and factored into it. I think the Kevin Owens stuff, like you say, frustrated a lot of people too. Yeah. But like, I think you could have had him retire there.
Yeah.
You could have had him be like, well, that was a longer run than I anticipated.
Do you remember he did retire after that? Kind of. He gave a farewell speech.
Yeah.
But it was done as like a dark segment after Raw. So it was kind of similar to this, in that this guy has had 2 retirement speeches almost that have just been put on YouTube after. It's wild. It's wild. But like, yeah, I think like it's not even a gatekeeping thing. Like I fully understand if you're 20, 21 and all you know is old man Goldberg. Fair, your stance is totally fair. But I would say, hey, if you want to like develop more of a respect, I guess, or an appreciation for why this guy is in this spot or was in this spot, go watch the Hogan match. The title change is free on YouTube. It's on WWE Vault, I believe. It's unbelievable. It's such a hot atmosphere. There's like 40,000 people there in Georgia. Hogan's stooging heel performance is incredible. It's unbelievable. You should really watch and check out like his La Parka squash or some of his other squashes. Goldberg was a force of nature 20, 30 years ago. And yeah, look, we all had to watch that Undertaker match in Saudi Arabia, and we all had to watch him beat the Fiend. Like, we lived through that. That doesn't remove that stuff from the equation. But hey, look, if you want,
I genuinely forgot. Was it Braun Strowman match at Mania, the Pando Mania?
Yeah, of course it was going to be.
It's going to be
Goldberg and Roman. Yeah, and then Roman was like, "I need this pandemic is quite sketchy. I'm taking some time off."
Fair.
Yeah, can't blame him for that at all. But yeah, look, I love Goldberg.
All credit to Gunther, by the way, as well.
Great job.
What performance.
Great job. And I would never laugh if he chopped me, to be fair. I'd probably, my ribs would be broken.
Are we going to see Gage Goldberg in the system eventually?
I mean,
he's on the football route right now, isn't he?
It depends what Bill says in 2 weeks, I guess.
Yeah, be careful, Bill.
He did comment in the interview that apparently WWE tried to get Gage on a next in line thing, but the money was really low, and Bill was like, no.
No, you're right.
So I don't know. But like, Gage looks big, man.
Yeah.
He looks big. I remember the first few times we saw him, he's just a little kid.
Yeah.
Obviously, people grow. That's how aging works.
It does feel like it was only like a couple of years ago, like you say, though. He was just like out there with his dad with his top off.
Yeah.
And they're like, who the hell's that?
That match was...
That's Gage.
That match was a debacle. But yeah, look, there's good and bad to Goldberg, but I love him, and he's a bald legend, isn't he? Bald god.
Yeah, so be prepared for Gage Goldberg is all elite, I suppose, after 2 weeks' time.
Imagine that. That'd be so funny. But yeah, let us know what you think in the comment section below. What do you think of my Goldberg pitch? Do you have a different one? Did you just not want to see any of this? I don't know. Maybe you did. I think it's fair.
Speaking of plans changing, I want to reveal the original plans for Roman Reigns' return this afternoon.
He was going to fight Gage. Sure, why not?
Whilst we do that one,
have a look at this.
What's this?
81 different transformations and reinventions in wrestling.
Wow!
Evolutions. Other things.
Evolution is a mystery.
It's
not with this.
Yeah, click this, it won't be.
Bye.